What is going on, everybody? My name is Bright Life. This is my fancy shirt. I look like the Wish.com version of Josh Strife Hayes today, and today I need a microphone.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
And today I want to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart, which is, will Dragonflight save World of Warcraft from itself? Let's jump into it. All right, will Dragonflight save World of Warcraft? It's a great question that I want to jump into because I'm kind of like a lifelong World of Warcraft player. I started playing back in Wrath of the Lich King era with my friends. I loved the game, but as I grew up, the game became harder and harder to love because you see, this game, although it's incredible and really fun, the core gameplay philosophy began to move away from Blizzard really listening to its players, caring about their feedback, and moved more into like chore-based systems that weren't really based around fun. And when you're a bona fide dad gamer like myself, you need a game that's just going to be fun to play. Now, what's really cool for me is the developers have been announcing things and doing little alpha previews and stuff like that that are really making me excited. I've seen 5 different things that I think have shifted now with World of Warcraft, especially in its core philosophy, and I want to walk through those today. All right, the first one is this: the developers are listening, and this is a massive change from previous iterations of this game. The game relied heavily on new borrowed power systems over the last few expansions, and it would be an understatement to say that the community was nervous. They were extremely nervous. A lot of videos came out about this. Content creators came out constantly, especially with Shadowlands, saying we're not really sure about this. From Azerite power to Covenant abilities, trying to get the developers to listen to reservations about these systems was like screaming at a brick wall. When the players would say what they wanted, Blizzard over and over again would say something along the lines of, well, how do I put this?
You think you do, but you don't.
The unfortunate thing was, wanting Blizzard to listen was a lot like trying to get a raid spot as a feral druid. It's just not happening, so stop asking, Chad. Now, the cool thing is, with this alpha cycle, with this expansion cycle, the philosophy seems to be shifting and changing. We'll talk about the power systems in just a moment, but I want to focus on the feedback direction that the dev team has been taking. Now, I want you to take a look at this tweet from WoW. Like, they're actually looking for feedback. They're listening to feedback and actually changing based on that good feedback. You hear that, Dad? I just want you to change. Just change for me. I'm sure he'll change when he gets back from the drugstore that he went to 2 years ago for lottery tickets. Not only that, but Blizzard is actually putting their money where their mouths are, or their tweets where their tweeters are, if you're into that sort of thing. Now check this out about Death Knight changes that came in the most recent alpha patch. You see, people actually got to check out the Death Knight trees, they got to play the Death Knight during alpha, and then they gave feedback, and this is what actually ended up happening. In the core class tree, the principal complaint has been that talent choices are far too linear with little variation in talent picks. This certainly goes against one of the stated aims of the talent system overhaul, to introduce greater customizability into class specking. To remedy this, Blizz are rearranging some nodes, adding connectors from Blood's branch to both Frost and Unholy, and adding more nodes before the first locked gate. The tree looks to be more interconnected, which should improve decision making for those utility skills. In fact, even their alpha rollout schedule is really doing really well. They're testing little bits of the game at a time, and that's a really cool thing. It's almost like they got a new chief of operations or something that's steering them in the right direction, and that makes me really, really excited. They're even reworking Beast Mastery Hunter trees, which I don't think has ever happened in the history of ever. This has actually led to a crisis amongst most of the Beast Mastery mains community because they don't know what to do with the emotion of happiness, so we're going to be praying for those brothers in Christ. And what I like about this is that it seems like Blizzard's philosophy is actually changing when it comes to core gameplay mechanics. They are deciding to take your feedback and my feedback as a player and actually weave it into the fabric of the game. So it makes me really excited, because a company that will listen to the people that love the game and build the game around helping them love it more, it's going to be a game that grows, because dedicated players like myself are going to try to bring as many people along with us to actually join into the game. So that's the number one reason why I think that Dragonflight might actually save World of Warcraft. Alright, numero dos, the Dragonriding mechanic, and I am excited for this. World of Warcraft has taken some inspiration from another great MMORPG, Guild Wars 2, and made its mounts actually fun to fly. Essentially, when you mount your new dragon mounts in Dragonflight, your ride goes a ton faster, but you do this by working with in-game physics to fly a dragon that's really falling with style.
That wasn't flying, that was falling with style.
Side note, I did just find out that Toy Story 1 came out when I was 2 years old, and now I feel really, really old, and now I'm having a bad day. So thanks, Hazakostas. Anyway, here's what World of Warcraft website says about dragon flying, which I think is great. There will be new flying mechanics added to dragon riding as well, which uses in-game physics to create an experience which is like the flying we already have, but more dynamic and hopefully fun. You'll be able to use momentum to build your speed and perform dive bombs and barrel rolls all over the island. There will also be an upgrade path that you can use to make your dragon a better flyer over the course of the expansion, although Hazakostas was quick to reinforce once again that flying will be available from the start, which is another piece of feedback that they are taking from previous expansions, that we want to be able to fly at the beginning. And I think this is really cool that they're adding a new fun element that you can access from the get-go. It's going to make leveling a really fun experience. And hey, as an added bonus, WoW veterans like Taliesin and Evitel, Bellular Gaming, they've said that this is one of their favorite aspects of the alpha so far, and that it looks and feels so much fun. But let's address the controversy, shall we? Because, oh no, the world's on fire! World of Warcraft stole from Guild Wars 2, and how could they possibly do it? It's their baby! Let's just say that's the general reaction of what a lot of people are having around the Dragonflight mechanic. The idea that if you watch this video overlaid on the video right now, that dragon flying looks a lot like Guild Wars 2's flying mechanics, and I get it. How does Blizzard get away with this? Are they just a completely evil company making completely evil wrong plays? Well, maybe not so much. I've thought for a while now that World of Warcraft is the game that most MMO players just kind of love to hate. And some of that hate is justified, but some of it is because WoW has been so dominant for so long. It's like seeing the Dallas Cowboys finally lose a playoff game. I can't. I read that wrong. Tom Brady lose a playoff game. Yeah, that's more like it. That's more like it. That man just does not miss. The reality is, nearly every single system that exists within any MMO, Guild Wars 2, Star Wars The Old Republic, Lord of the Rings Online, to Lost Ark, most of their systems have been copied and adjusted for their game from some other MMO. What about Final Fantasy's mount system? Well, World of Warcraft had the big mount system before Final Fantasy ever did. Guild Wars 2's arenas? World of Warcraft first. MMOs in general? Well, Neopets really had the corner on the market first, so I think the Neopet stands have been incensed ever since. But really, stealing from other games and making the idea your own and making it good is actually a good thing, because rising tides rise all ships. And in the MMO genre, if one game becomes better, well then most other games become better as a result, because they tend to copy and take from other games, which makes their MMO better, and they introduce a new system that game copies and makes better. I actually think it's kind of a good thing, and I'm not just trying to shill over here. I really like that, because hopefully as World of Warcraft takes more risks and adds more mechanics, then it will make Guild Wars 2 better and Star Wars The Republic better. And I think that if this genre becomes better, it's just better for every game. Now let's go back to why I think that the dragon riding mechanic is a really good idea, controversy aside, is because, you know what? Blizzard has decided to add an entire mechanic based on something that they've not been focusing on for a while: fun. You guys remember fun? You remember like way back in the day when you would log on to WoW and actually have a great time playing it? Well, they've added a system that's not just about power. It's not just about min-maxing. It's just about having fun. And I think that this is really, really cool. The mounts are fast and agile. There are obstacle courses built into the zones, and we get to ride a freaking dragon. Who doesn't want to do that? It's awesome. And you know what? Honestly, if dragon riding doesn't get you excited, go touch grass for a couple more months and remember what it's like to actually have a good time in a video game, because I think it's a cool thing that they're focusing an entire system around just having fun. Think about this. Blizzard has developed an entire system simply built around having a good time in the world that they've created. No more chores and power grinding, just good old-fashioned enjoying the world that you and I both know and love and that's the world of Azeroth. Now, real quick, before we go over to number 3, I just want to let you guys know that we do have a brand new guild called Bright Life on Proudmoore right now. If you're looking for some friends to play with and you want to roll Alliance, be sure to come join us over there. We're going to be taking on Dragonflight together, hopefully doing some raiding and just having a great time together. I love the community that we started over there, so if you're looking for a guild, come over there and then join the Discord in the link below so that we can get to know you and learn how we can love and care for you better. All right, numero 3, number 3, no new borrowed power systems. Just a revamped talent tree and quality of life changes. I cannot praise Elune enough on this point. We're not getting any more borrowed power systems, only a revamped talent tree and some real quality of life changes like Dragonriding. No longer will you be grinding for power that will completely disappear during the next expansion. No more forcing yourself to grind out just a little bit more Azerite power. Remember how fun Azerite power was? You remember? I love this change personally because all of the new power systems aren't borrowed, they're from your character. The talent trees look beautiful and complex, but at the same time, decently accessible, like when I call your mom. Which is a good thing because it makes the characters that we play feel rich and alive. One thing that was sitting in my mind as I was thinking about borrowed power systems as I was writing this video was I was finally able to put to words the issue that I had with the systems, and it really was this. When the borrowed power systems were in place, it felt like those were the main characters of the expansion. It didn't feel like my character was actually making any big difference in the game. It just felt like they were getting slapped with some new power system that was going to go away, which didn't make the class fantasy feel very vibrant and alive. When it was Azerite power, it was all about the Azerite essences that I could wear, but I knew that once the next one came out, that was going to be gone. And with Shadowlands, the Covenants are really fun, and the Night Fae ability to blink forward looks really, really cool, and it makes me get to live out my fantasy of being a furry. What? See, what I'm saying is, in the past, our characters weren't the source of the power that our characters had. It was the borrowed power systems, the Azerite armor, the Covenant abilities, legendary weapons, which meant that you weren't actually the main character, the system was. Well, thankfully not anymore. The philosophy is shifting back to class fantasy, and I think that's great because that means that you get to be the main character again. Your power is what you choose, and it's gonna stick with you into the next expansion and just get added onto. And doesn't that just feel a lot better? All right, number 4, and this one makes me really excited, is that we are going home to open zoned Azeroth. You remember going off to college for the semester away from your parents? It was a ton of fun. You had a great time at college, but during summer break, you came home to your good old mama's southern home cooking and just sinking your teeth into that. It felt so good to be home. You'd lay in your bed and you'd just watch movies with your stepsister and nothing happened, Mom. Stop asking. For me, as I watch the alpha footage of this game, I can't tell you how excited I am that the zones, the NPCs, and the story is harkening back to the good old home cooking of Azeroth. I've had fun slaying demons in Legion, fighting with the Horde and BFA, except when we weren't fighting, like we were, but then we weren't. It was very strange. And then, of course, learning that Sylvanas would never serve, even though she'd spent her entire Banshee existence actually serving, kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it, Sylvie? In the Shadowlands, but I'm really excited to come home to Azeroth. I love the wide open expanses of these zones. They look beautiful. The NPCs are Tuskar, and that's so cool. I love that about this game so far. These zones don't only look breathtaking and big enough to accommodate Dragonriding, but they also look like just good old-fashioned Azeroth. They look like home, and I'm really excited about that. I think that Blizzard's learning that we don't necessarily always need to be traipsing off far and away to thematically other than Azeroth zones. We just want to come and enjoy the world that we fell in love with years ago with a bit of new story and content to enjoy. I, for one, am extremely excited to be returning home. All right, lastly is a new class to sink our teeth into. No pun intended. Of course, pun intended. I'm a dad, and they're the Drakthir, the dragons. Get it? Teeth anyway. The Drakthir look absolutely awesome, and I've always loved playing new classes in WoW. Well, I mean, except for monks. Monks are the worst. If you're a monk main, we can't be friends. I'm just kidding, and yes, I did just roll a Demon Hunter, and it's not a phase, Mom, but I am really excited about the Drakthir class. A new caster, a new healer in the rotation, all of that is good stuff, but I really like the look of these empowered attacks. It's such a unique take on MMORPG combat, and I think it's cool to see a AAA game taking some risks introducing something new and building a system that changes the combat up a bit. WoW, of course, is a tap targeting combat system, which I love, but it's nice to see a bit more action combat incorporated into the empowered attack system as well. I'm also really excited about their class dynamic with the mini dragon flying mobility mechanics, especially when it comes to PvP and raiding. For PvP, I'm interested to see how they do in arenas with that fly with me mechanic, because you'll be able to possibly rescue your healer, or noob DPS player like me, please rescue me, so that they can get off that crucial heal. Alternatively, they could be a phenomenal raid-wide potential utility, and we've all been there with that moron pug player that joins your guild run, that is in the spot ready to wipe the entire raid. But there's a chance that you'll be able to save them and your guild from those pug players, which I think is a really cool thing. Now, another thing that makes me really excited from a raiding perspective about the Drakthir Evoker that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about is actually their position in the battlefield. Most of their spells and heals are actually at a mid-range point. I think it's somewhere around 20 to 24 meters, where normal spell casting range is around 40, which means that instead of there just being close range combat warriors and death knights, and then long-ranged ranged characters like hunters and mages, you're actually going to get this little mid-range section filled in as well, which is really cool, and it makes me excited for the geniuses at WoW Rating Development. WoW Rating Development? Is that a department? WoW Rating Department. The WoW Rating spot zone thing. It makes me excited to see what happens with the WoW rating development team, where, as they say, not only do we have close range to deal with and long range, but we can add some mechanics that really affect that mid-range spot as well, and that makes me really excited. So count me in for the Drakthir Evokers. I'm ready to fly with me off the ledge with way too many of my friends. Alright, now those are the 5 reasons that I think that Dragonflight might just save World of Warcraft from itself. There's a lot of new cool philosophies coming into this game, and I'm genuinely more excited now than I have been in a long time to play the World of Warcraft. And so I want to pass the question off to you. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that Dragonflight is going to save WoW, or is it just going to be more of the same? I do read every one of those comments. It means the world to me when you leave one of those, so please feel free to. Be sure to leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, friends, there are 2 things at the end of every video that I make that I want you to hear, and it's the most important thing that I say. You are so much more loved than you know, and you are so much more valuable than you realize. I hope that you have an absolutely incredible day, friends, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. I want to let you know a couple ways to connect with me. First of all, we got an awesome Discord in the description. We've got a Patreon if you'd like to give to the channel and help support more video creation. And I am live on Twitch quite often over at twitch.tv/brightlifecommunity. Would love to see you there. Always love interacting on those live video streams. But I hope you have an incredible day, my loved and valued friend. Have an awesome one.